From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, the implications of the two chief members of the Tukde Tukde Gang losing their bail plea in the Supreme Court. And at 9 p.m. tonight, why India must carefully observe the developments of Maduro's capture in Venezuela with the American deep state in big play. Ladies and gentlemen, the big story of the day is that Omar Khalid and Sarjil Imam have lost their bail pleas, which means that they will remain in jail. They tried to play victim. It did not work. I know two of them very well. I know one of them particularly well. Personally, his name is Omar Khalid. Nobody knows, trust me, Omar Khalid better than me. On 9th February 2016, a protest had been organized against what they called the judicial killing of Afzal Guru and Maqbool Bhatt. At that point of time, on the day this happened, when they shouted Bharat Tere Tukde Honge and Afzal Hum Sharminda Hai in JNU, the very next day after that anti-national sloganeering, I called him to my studio on 10th of February 2016. Take a look at that grab. This is the grab of that interview. And I had said then that he is more dangerous than a terrorist. I am the one, ladies and gentlemen, who called him anti-national on television on 10th February 2016. I am the one, ladies and gentlemen, who called him Tukde Tukde on 5th February 2018. I coined the phrase Tukde Tukde Gang. Many politicians picked it up from there. What is Tukde Tukde Gang? I'm asked often, why did you coin the phrase Tukde Tukde Gang? For me, it is a mix of Maoists, urban Naxals, jihadis and anti-nationals. Let's talk facts. There is no ambiguity left about the anti-national intentions of the people who chanted slogans like, one, ye Kashmir hamara hai, sara ka sara hai, they used to say. Hum kya chahte hain? Azadi. Tum kitne Afzal maroge? हर घर से अफजल निकलेगा. कश्मीर की आज़ादी तक जंग चलेगी, भारत की बर्बादी तक जंग चलेगी. Ladies and gentlemen, politicians keep changing sides. That is their job. At one point of time, Shashi Tharoor, who is now giving job applications, in my view, to the BJP every day, he was very sorry that Afzal Guru had been hanged. Today he sends indirect job applications to the BJP every day. But my question to you is that I'm consistent. I don't change what I said then, I said now. I have not changed my position since the beginning of my career. My question to all of you is, do not be satisfied with the fact that today Sarjil Imam and Omar Khalid have been denied bail. 10 years have passed. We are still debating whether they are anti-national. Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to go back to the 2000s? The India where Afzal Guru could plot and conspire and be the mastermind of a attack on the Parliament of India, and then he gave an interview on television to a particular news channel. Do you want to go back to those days when Afzal Guru's interview was played by a particular news channel? Ladies and gentlemen, it's unbelievable. I am not mentioning the name of the channel. You should investigate and ask questions to that channel. Sympathy campaigns, directly or indirectly, even 10 years back, were carried out in support of Afzal Guru. In our country, on our soil, right before us, cameras captured Indians supporting terrorists. Supporting terrorists was part of the anti-national toolkit, the playbook, and they had an open run in Delhi. In Delhi, they were having a field time. Ladies and gentlemen, the same Afzal Guru found support in the so-called students of JNU who so-called protested his killing on 9th February 2016. Then, I have visuals, I'll run them. On 16th February 2016, this entire Lutyens cabal attacked me for not joining a protest march along with them. Look at them out there. I'm not taking names. Do you recognize any faces out there, ladies and gentlemen? This group marched in Delhi, Abhivyakti ki Azadi, freedom of expression from press club to Rashtrapati Bhavan. In fact, Lutyens media. In fact, the entire Tukde gang, we move on, also gathered support even later in different ways in JNU from the now LOP Rahul Gandhi, as well as a well-established Bollywood actress in a different occasion, Deepika Padukone. Ladies and gentlemen, the support for this lobby runs deep. It's another thing that I am told she went there to also promote her own film. The same Tukde lobby went on to organize protests across India under different excuses. Different protests, ladies and gentlemen, same group. 15 December 2019, they started Shaheen Bagh. It was essentially the same ecosystem, same group, same players, same media supporters, same people in the political spectrum, same NGOs, the same group. This is what culminated in the anti-CAA riots. On 23rd February 2020, just a day before Donald Trump's visit to India, 53 people were killed in the anti-CAA riots in parts of Delhi like Jafrabad, Silampur, Chandbagam and Babarpur. This was not an ordinary protest. This was not a spontaneous protest. Today's judgment has made that clear. But at that point of time, at that point of time, the same Tukde Tukde gang was at play. They were saying, no, it is spontaneous, it is happening because Muslims are not treated well. There was no logic to it. It was an American deep state operation, I have no doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, like the farmers' protest. Again, 20th January 2021. These people keep trying every year different. The so-called farmers' protest, and there you have it, the pictures, ladies and gentlemen. The Tukde Tukde gang even dared to take down the Tiranga, replace the Tiranga at Red Fort. We all watched, but for so many years, after the Tukde Tukde first act, which was exposed by me, when I exposed what they did at JNU, when I exposed Umar Khalid, my question is, why were they given a clean and open run? Because somewhere, our democratic system is on the defensive. We are not a tough and hard state. We waited for the judicial process to continue, and today the judicial process has taken 10 years. Why blame the political setup? The judicial system, the prosecution, trial process took a long time. Viewers, the reason we need to be very careful today is we cannot be happy with the fact that the Tukde Tukde gang, 2 leaders will remain in jail, because something else is happening. I did expose, and I would like to say today, this Tukde Tukde gang is the original regime change plot. Destabilize an elected government by joining hands with the deep state. I have no doubt if you dig deep, you will find global connections. That is why it was Mamdani from New York, an American congressman, who were pleading that they be released. What is their intention? What is their interest? Ladies and gentlemen, they failed in India, but their equivalents in Bangladesh overthrew the Sheikh Hasina government on 5th August 2024. An America-friendly regime under Muhammad Yunus was installed. Don't forget what happened in Bangladesh. We were lucky, they failed. We are strong. The Tukde Tukde playbook will never succeed in India, but it did work in Bangladesh. Then on 9 September 2025, just last year, KP Sharma Oli resigned from the post of Prime Minister of Nepal. They called it Gen Z protest, but was it? Or was it again America, social media, tech giants, combined operation to overthrow the government? They don't care what happens next. Even today, there is no political stability in Nepal. But they overthrew the state. And then, just day before yesterday, you know what America did in Venezuela with that open military attack. Viewers, we will never go the Bangladesh, Nepal or Venezuela way. But if we do not watch and we are not careful, there are other Sarjeel Imams and Umar Khalids out there who will use our democracy to destroy it from within. The reason today's judgment is very important, it is because it's happened right after the incidents over the last 3 or 4 years where in our neighborhood governments have fallen. Sarjeel Imam and Umar Khalid, ladies and gentlemen. These two are the face of the Tukde Tukde Gang, but not its only members. There are many out there who think they almost got away. Let's debate.
Umar Khalid and Sarjeel Imam.
पहले भी शायद दर्ज कर चुका हूँ। अगर 5 लाख लोग हमारे पास हो ऑर्गेनाइज्ड तो हम हिंदुस्तान और नॉर्थ ईस्ट को परमानेंटली कट कर सकते हैं। परमानेंटली नहीं तो कम से कम 1 महीने के लिए तो कट कर ही सकते हैं। मतलब इतना मवाद डालो पटरियों पर, रोड पे कि उनको हटाने में 1 महीना लगे, ठीक ही नहीं। जाए एयरफोर्स से, असम को काटना हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। असम और इंडिया कट के अलग हो जाए।
The conspirators of the Delhi riots that killed 50 and left over 500 injured will remain in jail.
The Supreme Court has today denied bail to Umar Khalid and Sarjeel Imam in the Delhi riots case under UAPA while granting bail to the other 5 accused. The bench of Justice Aravind Kumar and N.V. Anjaria held that masterminds of the Delhi riots case, Umar Khalid and Sarjeel Imam, stand on a different footing from the other accused. The court has ruled the prosecution material discloses a prima facie case against Khalid and Imam and that statutory threshold under UAPA is attracted, making bail unjustified at this stage. The Supreme Court took note of the prosecution's reliance on video footage of Sarjeel Imam's speeches, including the calls for chakka jam, obstruction of essential supplies, which were argued to fall within the UAPA scope relating to economic security.
Today's verdict is a hammer blow for the intellectual patrons of terror who met, harbored, planned every aspect of regime change in 2020.
To some extent, I must tell you, Arnab, the fact that American lawmakers have supported the bail gives some credence. I may not say 100% that maybe this so-called regime change was engineered from outside. I'm not making any allegations. I'm only guessing. It's in the realm of suspicion. Otherwise, why would American lawmakers be interested in a case in India? There are so many other cases, hundreds of cases. Why they have not said anything about any other case?
From Shaheen Bagh to Red Fort to farmers' protest in 2020, the plan was hatched. The target was the central government, a plot in which they targeted the heart of the state machinery, where even cops were killed.
सर, हम तो ये अनुरोध करना चाहेंगे माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट से कि हम लोगों के जवान बेटे इन लोगों ने दंगे में ख़त्म कर दिए। अगर इन लोगों को जमानत दी जाती है तो हम सभी पीड़ितों को फांसी देने का काम सुप्रीम कोर्ट द्वारा किया जा रहा है। अनुरोध करना चाहेंगे इनको किसी भी हालत में बेल नहीं देना चाहिए। इनको कम से कम सज़ा दी जाए तो फांसी से कम इनकी सज़ा नहीं होनी चाहिए।
Before Bangladesh and Nepal, was the government of India target number 1?
And with us today is Mahesh Jetmalani, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. Mr. Jetmalani, the broader question that is now coming out, that was this the original plot? Bangladesh came later, but was the first attempt in India which we failed to realize it for what it was.
Yes, chronologically it certainly was, and now you can see there's there's an identity of comments made at that time. Now, you remember the 7-clip video which I think you played on your channel, different on between December 2019 and January 2020, Sharjil's statements, where he actually talked. I mean, what was the point? You're having a protest, right? Presumably it was a protest for the CAA enactment, right? And it was meant to draw President Trump's attention to the CAA and its so-called discontentment about it. But Sharjil went and talked about Chicken's Neck. He went and talked about that Siliguri corridor. He said, it's our duty. It belongs to the Muslims. And he said that we should strive to cut off India from the northeastern states because we control this. Now, recently, I think about 3 months ago, Mohammad Yunus has said the same thing, that we have the ability to cut off through the Siliguri corridor. He's made the same statement. India from its northeast states, the mainland India from the northeast states. So it resonated. What happened then resonates with what's happening now. They failed in India, but they've got a puppet now in Bangladesh who's inciting the population against Hindus, right? And at the same time is playing the deep state's game exactly in the same tenor that Sharjil and Umar did in 2019-20.
So, Mr. Jethmalani, why was Umar Khalid then allowed to come out on bail will be the critical question. Because he said, Bharat Tere Tukde Honge, he was part of the group along with Kanhaiya Kumar and others in that original so-called protest in JNU, the Tukde Tukde Gang protest, but he came out in 2 months almost triumphant.
I think at that time, I do not think that any investigating agency had actually realized the scale of what was happening. Nobody really thought that this was a regime change operation at the behest of the deep state in the then deep state in America. Nobody thought so. They thought it was a simple protest. Yes, all right. He got carried away. At the most, he was an innocuous Muslim separatist, right? That's all they thought. But on deeper probing, and one must give credit to the Delhi police. I mean, and of course, I mean, I have to raise my hat to Mr. S.V. Raju. I mean, he's done an outstanding job marshalling the facts and the law at all stages of this case. He's done a remarkable job, and the nation owes him a lot for performing his job in a stellar manner. But at that stage, I thought, I mean, my own view is that it was underestimated. What was going on and the forces behind it was not understood. Today we have the whole picture, thanks to a thorough investigation and now a very good prosecution at the moment in charge of Additional Solicitor General Raju.
But what about the others? I'm not holding them responsible directly, that's for the prosecutors, but there are images of several other people, so-called activists, Yogendra Yadav. Can I have that picture there? I'm not saying that they were not having more than a cup of tea, but they are seen there with Sharjil Imam, with Umar Khalid. What will ever be known about the known of so-called political activists and political parties?
At some stage, it's the same actors, whether they're for instance, I don't know why these people do it. I mean, obviously, they're on an agenda. They're on an agenda. Nobody can say whether it's a paid agenda or what, but there's an agenda to somehow undermine Indian interests. I mean, it is what you call the Tukde Tukde Gang. Every cause they take up is not to enhance India's sovereignty and its territorial integrity, but it is to somehow undermine it. And it's the same actors, except, as you said, different issues every year. I mean, what the deep state seems to be doing, and Soros is very much part of that deep state, and he's a key figure, is they collect some, articulate, iconic, promote them as iconic figures, whether it's Trudeau in Canada, right, and, now Yunus in Bangladesh, but also lesser characters, then some at the world stage, Greta Thunberg. What has Greta Thunberg got to do with farmers' protests in India? They're all members of the same ilk. and they're united by external forces, the deep state basically, Soros's money, right? His foundations are funding most of these people. You've seen that even on the Kashmir issue, there's a Soros-controlled NGO which has Sonia Gandhi as a member. That was exposed a few months ago. So it's political, it's NGO, it's activists, it's international high-profile so-called environmentalists. Sometimes Rihanna comes, sometimes Greta Thunberg comes. And of course, we have some of our own Indian stars. I don't even think they know what they're doing. They're probably just being paid to do it. Some of our high-profile Indian, stars.
So in a way, Omar Khalid was the new Yasin Malik. What Yasin Malik in the 1990s and 2000s was, Omar Khalid was in the 2020s. The same political ecosystem also adopted him. But only the geopolitical circumstances, and I'll end with that, are far more explosive now, aren't they, Mahesh? That, there are people who would like to destabilize our country more actively through intelligence players or otherwise.
Yes, it seems that it's reaching crescendo right now, isn't it?
Yes.
They're trying at every stage. This has been going on issue by issue, Rafale, then Adani. These are all deep state activities. It all emanates from there. We found out who's behind Hindenburg as well. Right? Hindenburg himself now is squealing that I was only a research analyst. But there are attempts to destabilize a powerful government in India that doesn't suit foreign powers who are inimical to India.
Absolutely. Well, Mahesh Jetpalani, I think we have to put it in a particular context. I thank you because you sparked my debate. Thank you for joining me this evening. Mahesh Jetpalani there. Now, opening this up for debate, what is the impact of the Tukde Tukde Gang, the two top leaders now being denied bail? It's more than being denied bail, isn't it? Pulla Rao, I want you to start the debate. The others are on. We all familiar faces.
I heard two lawyers, the great lawyers, but are they experts of international affairs? They have no business. And also I thank Mr. Mahesh Jetpalani. He has admitted intelligence was sleeping. Intelligence has failed. They should do something about the intelligence, allowing people to do these things. He has said it himself. They were sleeping. They didn't know. They didn't know what was happening. They didn't talk like this. Very, very amateurish. Yes, every country faces internal enemies. Internal enemies must be caught. It's a government's responsibility. Government should answer why it has failed.
Prafulla, unmute yourself. Prafulla, unmute yourself first.
Okay, it has unmuted. Can you hear me?
Sir, it was not about intelligence. He said investigation agencies.
No, it is
people
about
like
failure.
you.
It is about everything.
I also studied in JNU. I also studied in JNU.
People like you. 1 minute.
Prafulla, louder.
Also. It is about good policing. It is about a good system. It is good politics. Where is it? When you allow people to do all of this, and he says, when Donald Trump came, they wanted to sabotage Donald Trump's visit, not tell Donald Trump about CAA. Was the government aware that such a thing was being made to embarrass Trump, to embarrass the government? Intelligence has failed. When intelligence fails, when intelligence has lacked, then everything comes around. NGOs are giving money. Where is the foreign...
No, I'll tell you why. I'll let Prafulla Ketkar come in. But before Prafulla Ketkar come in, I just want us to be very careful today, because what we are talking about is a regime change operation. Prafulla Ketkar, just want to say this. This was a regime change operation by trying to provoke Muslims. These two wanted to be Jinnah 1, Jinnah 2. They wanted another direct action day. Prafulla Ketkar.
And now, this has been a pattern. Sometimes, the inciting Muslims, sometimes using some caste issue, sometimes using farmers as an identity, sometimes picking up Kashmir as an issue, sometimes Northeast, sometimes, North versus South. So this is a, clear-cut pattern. And the people, in the name of freedom of speech and expression, has always stood by, this kind of rhetorics. And somehow they are playing, as agents of all these gangs. Now, we have to be very careful simply because, Arnab, Recently, during the Red Fort attack, a new term was coined, white collar terrorist. Was Osama bin Laden illiterate? Was Sharjil Imam illiterate? He carries IIT JNU tag. These terrorists were always white collar. Poor, illiterate Muslims have nothing to do with it. Always literate from Jinnah till today. Umar Khalid, all these people. Ilyasi, how does he get appointment with Mamdani? How does he get appointment with, he is one of the founding members of Simi, the band outfit. And still he has audacity to go to the US, meet the US lawmakers, meet Mamdani, the, elected mayor of New York, and on behalf of his son, he gets the statement given by Mamdani. What kind of, era? And we have some people who are calling out today that it is a shame, it is a murder of democracy, and we have people inside, So subverting democracy using democratic means has become a pattern for last 6-7 years throughout the world. And that's why we should be very careful.
We should also be very careful, if I may ask, of a section of the media. Believe me, viewers, I'll say this today, of a section of the media. The target, it was well planned with the visit of Donald Trump. I'll just take a little while. I asked Abhishek Kapoor, our senior executive editor, was Trump the target? And he told me, Arnab, for sure Trump was the target. The press conference of Donald Trump happened on February 25th. On that date, at least 20 questions were asked from Donald Trump on the Delhi riots. 20 questions. A solid attempt, Savio, by our journalists within to extract a statement from Donald Trump on the Delhi riots. Just imagine today if Narendra Modi was to go to Washington, and if somewhere in Michigan there were to be some violence, would you ask Narendra Modi repeatedly about the Michigan violence? No. Abhishek Kapoor told me, Arnab, I was in that press conference, 20 questions to Donald Trump. He dodged all the questions. And he says, I know that is a trap question. So Indian media was trying to trap Donald Trump into giving a negative statement on the Delhi riots so that they could grab the headline. And for one headline, they killed 53 people. Remember, viewers, history will remember this. For one headline, 53 people were killed. And the headline never happened. This is the reality. Now look closely before I go to Sanju at that picture out there. Keep it in the bottom of the screen. Meeting takes place in a particular address in Jangpura. Mr. Yogendra Yadav, then activist, now full-time politician, partisan, is sitting there. And he's sitting with Sharjil Imam. Today, Yogendra Yadav, the nation wants to know, पूछता है भारत आप क्या कर रहे थे वहाँ पे? What was this planning going on?
Part-time cephalogist.
No, part-time cephalogist, stand-up comedian, affiliate member of the Congress party, Padyatra member, NGO club, whatever. But what was Yogendra Yadav doing there? You see, I'll just say one thing. I'm sorry I'm taking time. I'll just say, the cover has been blown for these people of the so-called intellectual class who create a riot and then say, हमको तो कुछ पता ही नहीं जी. हम तो आइडियोलॉजिकल बातें कह रहे हैं, लोगों ने लोगों को मारा, हमको क्यों पूछ रहे हैं? हमने एसिड बॉम्ब फेंका, नहीं फेंका, हमने सिर्फ भड़काया. Today they are shaking in their boots as the Tukde Gang is in jail. Implications with Sanju Verma. Debate is hot tonight. I'll open the calls as well now. Yes, Sanju.
Thank you. Arnab, I just want to focus on one very important thing. You know, today, what did the Supreme Court say? Though your channel has been covering the story non-stop. The Supreme Court said Umar Khalid and Sharjil Imam do not surpass the bar under section 43D5 of the UAPA. And then the Supreme Court also said, very importantly, I think this is one of the first of its kind, where the Supreme Court said a terrorist act also constitutes disruption of public infrastructure and disruption of essential services. So basically the Supreme Court said that Umar Khalid and Sharjil Imam have been a threat to society and a threat to society can arise even if you do not individually engage in physical violence. Did Sharjeel Imam and Umar Khalid mastermind the Shaheen Bagh riots? Did they mobilize the crowds? Were they involved in organizing the strategic direction of the Shaheen Bagh riots? The answer to all these questions is yes. But taking off from what Arnab said about the Tukde Tukde Gang and even the Lutyens Lashkar Gang, which is a terminology made famous by Arnab, let me say that while Umar Khalid, the likes of Sharjeel Imam need to be condemned unequivocally, let's not forget people who petitioned the Supreme Court saying Umar Khalid is innocent. There is a man called A.S. Dulak who enjoyed the highest perks of power under the Congress-led UPA dispensation. There's a man called Shafi Alam. He was the former DG of the NCRB. There is a man called Mohinder Pal Aulak, the former DGP of Punjab. There is a man internationally very famous as a war author, Noam Chomsky. Then you have Amitav Ghosh. You have Salman Rushdie. They have all at some point or the other petitioned the highest judiciary in India asking for Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam to be set scot-free. And I'm so glad that our courts have cracked the whip and done what needed to be done without bowing to the so-called radical Islamist lobby, both at home and abroad. And my final point is this, Arnab. I can see that you have an Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson on your show. Never forgive, Arnab, that it was Tahir Hussain. He was then an Aam Aadmi Party councillor from Ward number 59 from Nehru Nagar in East Delhi. He was also one of the masterminds, and for the longest time, Arvind Kejriwal refused to give approval for Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam to be prosecuted under section 16, 17 and 18 of the UAPA because state government's approval is also needed. But finally, Kejriwal yielded to media pressure. Kejriwal yielded to the public outrage. And I want to ask the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, Tahir Hussain, was anointed as Bhagat Singh. Your Manish Sisodia said, हमारे ताहिर हुसैन तो शहीद भगत सिंह जैसे हैं, इन पर भला कोई लांछन कैसे लगा सकता है? And I can see Mr. Pulla Rao on your panel. Mr. Pulla Rao talks about failure of state intelligence, but this is the same Mr. Pulla Rao. When I was on a debate with him a few months back, he was actually shedding copious tears for Basava Nimbala Rao, the Naxalite who was neutralized by our armed forces, saying, oh, you know, but Basavaraj Nimbala Rao actually was a very brilliant student. He was an engineer.
I think your memory is failing.
He was a Naxalite.
Your memory
yes,
is failing.
you supported him.
Your
yes,
memory
you supported
is
him.
You with
so
that
my
individual.
problem is with politics. Please wait for your turn.
Your memory is failing
my
you.
problem
Your memory
is with politicians
you talk loud.
and political
your memory
analysts
is failing you.
who
your
want
memory is
India to become
you.
a soft state.
Your memory is
my
failing
problem
you.
is
Don't
with
talk so
politicians who were hailing
your memory. Your memory is wrong.
The brown bread. Why you rattled?
Your memory
Why
is
you
wrong.
rattled? Why you blabbering?
I never defended
Why
him.
you blabbering? It's not your
I
turn
never
to
defended
speak.
him. You're wrong. Just because you
No,
can shout doesn't
you were
mean they're
supporting Naxalites.
No,
I urge Arnab Goswami to take that clip out.
Who are you?
You said, why are Naxalites being neutralized?
To pontificate?
And you have the audacity now to question me.
What are you
I
to
have a
pontificate?
better memory than you.
Are you the bishop
I have
here?
a great
Are you the
memory.
bishop giving a sermon?
You are a terror
You're giving a sermon.
You are a
Discuss
Naxal
politics.
apologist.
Discuss politics.
Condemn
Don't give
Umar
sermons.
Khalid.
Don't
if you
give
have
sermons.
Condemn Umar Khalid, you will
Don't
not do
give
that.
sermons.
Condemn
You're
Sharjeel
sermonizing.
Imam, you will not
You're
do that.
sermonizing.
Condemn Tahir
You're
Hussain,
sermonizing.
you will not do
You're
that.
sermonizing.
But you will
You're
question
sermonizing.
India's judiciary.
You are sermonizing.
You have the audacity
You're
to
real
question
fit for that.
India's armed
You can't
forces,
sermonize.
but you will not
You live in a glass
question
house.
white-collar
You can't
terrorists.
sermonize. What are you sermonizing?
whom
What are
we
you
lost
sermonizing about?
53
You're not a
lives in the
speech,
Shaheen
not
Bagh
an
riots.
analysis. You're using
You are the
pulpit
same lot
to sermonize. You're
which
not a
actually
sermonizer.
said,
Don't
oh,
sermonize.
why should we
Don't
blame
sermonize.
Dr. Umar Nabi
You're
for the Red
unfit.
Fort blast?
You're unfit.
You're the same
You're
lot
unfit to
which
sermonize.
actually petitioned
Let
the Supreme
Anmol
Court
also come
saying
in. See,
young
Anmol.
women should not be
Anmol,
hanged.
Anmol, I think the
You have
I think
sympathy
the
for
lesson
young
for
women. You have
the
sympathy
lesson
for Basavaraj
the lesson
Nimbala
for
Rao.
everyone here is, I think the important thing is that regime change America wants regime change. I am not going to say a few things.
Even Kejriwal wants regime change.
I am not going to
but
say.
Kejriwal is irrelevant now.
I am not.
Kejriwal is irrelevant now.
Let me complete.
Even a Yogendra Yadav wants regime change. So it's not going to happen. Abhi to sirf trailer hai. Narendra Modi 2029 mein bhi aayenge. There is no vacancy for the Prime Minister's post.
I am not going to. 1 minute.
2034 में भी बीजेपी आएगी. शांत हो जाओ. ध्यान से सुनो. So if you have any plans for regime change, please throw them out of the window.
2094 में भी आएगी.
Okay, now the question.
2034 में भी आएगी. 4034 में भी
मनीष
आएगी.
सिसोदिया खुद की सीट हार गए. थोड़ी शर्म करो. केजरीवाल lost his own seat.
5034 में भी आएगी.
Your Manish Sisodia lost his own seat. Saurabh Bhardwaj lost his own seat.
6034 में भी आएगी.
Why do you have that stupid smirk on your face when all your top brass was booted out of Delhi Assembly elections by the Janata?
Can I respond, Arnab?
And you have a stupid smirk on your face? Why? हार चुके दिल्ली के चुनाव.
अच्छा थोड़ा पानी पी लो पहले. Have some water.
हो जाएगी
Have some water.
सरकार. Come 2027, you will lose Punjab also. So don't have that stupid smirk on your face.
चुनाव चोर बता रहे हैं. The ones who steal elections.
If you have the
ones who steal elections on camera.
Do you have the guts to condemn
वोट चोर बता रहे हैं.
Do you have the guts to condemn
डकैत बता रहे हैं.
No.
The murderers of democracy are telling
something
this.
like a Yaqub Memon who was given capital punishment? No. Your heart bleeds for radical Islamists.
Can I just come in for a minute and ask Sanju, I have a question for Anmol. Anmol, listen, Savio is on. I'm just going to ask a question very gently today. Don't react to my question, all right? I have Sanju also on it. Heart of heart somewhere. Heart of heart somewhere. Kejriwal wanted to be Machado. Kejriwal wanted to be Machado. He thought with the support of the Ford Foundation, American deep state, etc., kabhi na kabhi to ban jayenge. That's why you are trying to use the American logic. What America does is create a set of circumstances. Savio, we raise questions about the legitimacy of the electoral process, whether Bangladesh, Venezuela, or everywhere. Achha, but the same way, Trump himself questioned his own electoral system when he lost. Right? But he wouldn't want any other country to come in. See, the problem with you is, Anmol, is that Kejriwal was getting full American support till 2017-18. Then America realized, inse kaam nahi hoga, switched back to Rahul Gandhi. Now Kejriwal is a regional player. Rahul Gandhi is the Soros global player. No, I am just explaining things to you. See, this was a regime change operation. The specific question to you is, I'll just finish in 5 sentences. Why didn't you ever take a clear and open position against Sarjil Imam and Omar Khalid?
Exactly.
They cannot, Arnab. He cannot.
He cannot, Savio?
Because we are the ones who support. He cannot. Because we are completely...
Why is that? Why can't he, Savio?
To me or to Savio?
No, but Savio intervened. Savio, why can't Anmol take a position against?
To me or to Savio?
Right now, Savio stepped in, then coming back to you.
But should I respond
They are
first?
completely supported by the deep state. And the terrorists, Sarjil Imam and Umar Khalid, are also members of the deep state. Let's look at Aam Aadmi Party for what it is. That they are players in the Aam Aadmi Party that are representatives of the deep state. And whether they want to accept it or not, that's their problem. But the government of India is going to crack down on all deep state elements. Now, why? Can he take a stand? Can he call Sarjil Imam and Umar Khalid as terrorists? Because that's what they are.
Okay, now then the ball is in Anmol's court.
Arnabji, let me respond. First of all, I must commend your research team because they are amazing at creating stories and these kind of fictional stories, which you just read out. Secondly, we have full faith in the Honorable Supreme Court of... Can I respond? No, let me respond. We have full faith in the Honorable Supreme Court and its unwavering commitment to the rule of law. But at the same
And you're getting
time,
into rhetoric.
I want to underline the fact that these prolonged incarceration. Arnabji, did I interrupt?
Yes or no?
Did I interrupt? Did I interrupt?
Stop the rhetoric.
Did I interrupt, Arnabji? This is not the way. Let me know when I have to speak. Let me know when I have to speak.
I'm just a bit shocked that you're supporting these two terrorists.
Arnabji, we are not.
Let me
complete. You are constantly interrupting. You are allowing other panelists to interrupt, and then you are putting words in my mouth, which is not correct.
Are you supporting these two even today?
Let me complete. We respect. Let me respect. We did. Let me complete. We never supported them, and now you want debate to happen this way. आप चाहते हो कि opposition को बोलने ना दिया जाए. आपकी हिम्मत है, अगर आपको दम है तो बोलने दो ना. Be a man, Arnab. Be a man. Be a man and let me speak. Be a man and let me speak.
He's making a sexist comment. He's just made a misogynistic comment to which Sanju would like to reply. When a person who cannot reply says to someone else, be a man, he's saying that women, what do you mean, be a man? Sanju, what does he mean by saying be a man?
You know, he's being misogynistic.
No wonder you beat up a woman leader of your party.
He's being gender insensitive. He's being misogynistic, he's being sexist, he's being gender insensitive. What do you mean, be a man? Why can't somebody be a woman?
That in any
don't get this man-woman analogy into the debate.
The prolonged
you are
incarceration
unable
of
to
an
condemn
individual
Umar
without
Khalid as a
commencement
terrorist.
or
You are
conclusion
unable
of
to
trial.
condemn Sharjeel Imam as a terrorist. You are unable to condemn your former colleague
The right to life and liberty enshrined under Article 21 of the Constitution.
You are unable to condemn Miran Haider. You are unable to condemn
There are no rights for terrorists.
You are unable to condemn
There are no
more
rights
than
for
1.1
you are
lakh
unable
people
to
have been
condemn
put behind bars by this
Islamist
BJP government
ideology.
under preventive detention.
Hindu
Our leader from Jammu and Kashmir, Mehraj Malik, has been put behind bars just because he
Jai Shri Ram is a war cry. ये सब बोलते वक्त आपकी जीभ बिल्कुल भी थरथराती नहीं है. But when the moment comes to condemn radical Islamist terror, you consume Fevicol in wholesale. You are the same lot which said.
No, I think we're forgetting the.
Why hang him? You said Burhan Wani is a poor headmaster's son. Why was he neutralized? You are the same lot.
The materials.
Operation Sindoor. तो होना ही नहीं चाहिए था. You wanted Pakistan to be given a clean chit, but Narendra Modi showed Pakistan the mirror via Operation Sindoor. And Kejriwal and his retainers were crying in a corner. After the Balakot strike, Kejriwal was crying in a corner. After the surgical strike of 2016, Kejriwal was asking for proof
after the
surgical strike. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you?
Otherwise it weakens
and there is nothing called free speech. Sharjeel Imam wanted to choke Assam. Sharjeel Imam wanted to cut out the chicken's neck. Sharjeel Imam wanted our armed forces to be isolated. Sharjeel Imam wanted the Northeast to be isolated. There is nothing about Sharjeel Imam which will make you into a Sharjeel Imam.
You know, if Umar Junaidi, I see you, I hear you. Sanju, 1 minute, please. Sanju, I want to place one thing before everyone watching tonight. Anmol and Sanju, I just wish to intervene for a minute, please. Thank you. If I may be allowed to speak for a moment. The important thing about today's Supreme Court verdict, ladies and gentlemen, is that it exposes the CAA, anti-CAA protest for what it is. I had said at that point of time, this is not a political protest. It is sponsored by intelligence agencies and some jihadis to overthrow the Modi government. It was therefore a regime change operation. At that point of time, they said I was mad. I was a right-winger.
No such statements came before this.
Omar, I'm coming to you. Omar and Prafulla will debate. Just give me a moment. Omar, today, 1 minute. I'll tell you. You said it is about Muslim rights. I said it is not.
Do you condemn the statement of
but
cutting off Assam from India?
I must really say
Do you
this,
do you condemn? No,
It
give
is-
simple answer, yes or no.
It would be a
Do
great
you
opportunity
condemn
and
Sharjeel Imam's statement that Assam
service
should
to
be
the
cut off
nation
from
if you
India?
join CBI
What was
or
the
the
mistake
CID,
of
because you have
Ankit
more
Sharma?
sources
What
to
was
inform
the crime of Dilbar Negi?
The intelligence
What was
agency
the crime
fails
of
to
Ratan Lal?
see what's going on in the country.
Why the radical
But
mob
your
took
sources
them up
have
and just
definitely
killed
connected so
brutally?
many dots.
What was their mistake? What
It's
was their
really, you
mistake?
must be in CBI. You must be
why-
in CID. You must be in
why
intelligence
these people
agencies.
were
Arnab.
instigated
It's
and
being a
mobilized
channel.
from the
It's an
PFI
opportunity for
office
you to go and serve the nation.
to actually target and kill people like Ankit Sharma, Dilbar Negi,
Until today, no
and-
Supreme Court, High Court or the trial court stated that Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam are terrorists, but you called out them as terrorists.
Yeah.
No court has convicted them as terrorists.
Okay.
You call
so
them
you
terrorists.
support the statement
You're
by
talking
Sharjeel Imam that
you're
Assam should
talking
be cut
about the
off. You support the
largest
statement that
conspiracy
Muslim
of
should
change of
occupy
regime.
and Muslim has the
But
right
until
over
today,
chicken
no
meat.
such
Do
statement
you
of
support
regime
the
change has
statement
been
that
recorded in the
Muslims should
court.
overthrow the government?
The Supreme Court
Do you
says
support the
today,
statement?
the
Isn't it
observation of the-
inflammatory and terrorizing enough? Do you support Sharjeel Imam's statement on cutting off Assam from India?
Sir, I have an example from Gulbarga. A person called Nisaruddin. He was sent. He was
I
in jail
asked
for
you a
23
simple
years.
question, yes
After
or no?
23 years, he was
Yes or no?
He was acquitted.
Yes
saying,
or no?
Arey, listen to me first.
Yes
Why are you
or
not
no?
listening?
No,
A person from Gulbarga
you have
was
to
in
give
jail
an
for
answer.
23 years.
You are
Prafula, cut, Prafula.
He was acquitted.
That's why I ask you.
Saying he was not involved. After 23 years. And you're talking about...
Do you support the statement or not? Do you think that the hanging of Afzal Guru was wrong?
I am talking about
I'm asking you a
Sharjeel
simple
Imam,
question.
Umar Khalid. I am here to talk about Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam. I am not here to
Okay,
talk
since
about
you are here,
about
since you are here to
cutting
talk about
off
Umar
Assam
Khalid
from
and
India,
Sharjeel
do you
Imam,
support that statement?
I'm opening up calls tonight. Just one point I want to make, and Sanju is coming back. I am here to talk about Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam as well, and I would like to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam were trying to overthrow the central government by creating communal violence all over the country. Now, therefore, in my view, someone who is instigating communal riots all over the country is as good as a terrorist. I stand by that comment. Now, Kedar is calling from Pune. Kedar.
Thanks for taking my call.
Happy to.
Good evening, Arnab, and all the panelists. Arnab, great fan of yours.
Thank you.
Following your debate for a long time. And your stand has been constant against Tukde Tukde Gang. I completely agree with the fact that these are terrorists and all their supporters should be treated as terrorists. You cannot...
Completely. And they were, Kedar, they were conspiring to break up the country into 4 phases. In 4 phases, they wanted a Break India campaign to begin. It is our mistake. Sometimes I think, Sanju, the government is too liberal. Otherwise, this man, Umar Khalid, should not have been out. When he was arrested, the first time was released in 1 or 2 months. He should not have been. Vikram calling from Bengaluru. Vikram.
Yeah, hi, Arnab. I want to ask a question to Umar, who is sitting on your panel.
Umar Junaidi, put him big screen.
Who is vociferously supporting all the terrorists. So I want to ask him one question. Is Assam part of India, yes or no? Is Assam part of India, yes or no?
Definitely it is. Definitely it is. How can
if
you
it
even
is
ask
part
such,
of it,
such question?
If it is, so then why are you supporting a terrorist? Why are you supporting a terrorist who said choke the chicken neck, and cut off Assam and Northeast? Have some shame, man.
Part of India.
Have some shame.
Okay.
You are supporting terrorists.
Is he proven terrorist? Did any court convicted him
You're
as a
supporting
terrorist?
Sharjeel Imam tonight. I place that on record. Sanju is on the debate. Retired Major Vijay is calling. You are supporting him indirectly. Terrible. Terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Vijay, retired Major Vijay from Delhi. Major Vijay.
Jai Hind Arnab and Jai Hind to all the panelists. There are a couple of points I want to make. Sharjeel Imam and Umar Khalid are the tactical players. There are strategic players who are sitting behind them within India and outside India. So the second thing is that it is an octopus tentacles plan that is being hashed against India. So in last 10 years, we have seen 3 or 4 movements that have happened, and that means there are 4 more to happen. It is like an octopus, 8 tentacles. Now I want to tell one thing. It is not necessary that all the terrorists should wield the weapon. There are terrorists, the ideological radicals, we can call them, and that is a category where Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam are coming. And Sharjeel Imam talking about chicken neck, it is a military term. It is not a loosely used term. Somebody must have briefed him. Somebody from away from India must have briefed him about the importance of the chicken neck. And
No,
what
sir,
is the...
I tell you one thing, if I may interrupt here, if you don't mind. In page 1, para 115, if you look at these testimonies which are given in, Sharjeel Imam in a WhatsApp chat with his brother Muzammil admits that he is the mastermind of Shaheen Bagh. And on 8/12/2019, at a meeting in 6x6 Jangpura, Bhogal, New Delhi, organized by Yogender Yadav, Sanju, please note, attended by Umar Khalid, Nadeem Khan, Sharjeel Imam, Tahira Daud, Khalid Saifi, Miran Haider and others. The plan is made to conspire for Chakka Jam. However, today, Ratnakar Tripathi, I don't find a comment from Yogendra Yadav. Have you? He's your favorite man? Is your favorite man part of the Congress party effectively?
How much under time?
Yes?
How much protected time? To speak.
Arnab.
No, you can speak. Sanju is there. You can speak.
So ask her. So first of all, take strong objection to the gender bias in Sanju. Man and woman, they are highly transgender recognized by the country.
What
Why do you
saying?
say that don't be a man? Why to be a man?
Manmohan Singh was giving a jadoo ki jhappi to Yasin Malik of the JKLF, and you are sitting here lecturing the BJP and Sanju Wala. If you have the guts to condemn former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, you are giving a jadoo ki jhappi to Yasin Malik. जादू की झप्पी यासिन मलिक को दे रहे थे मनमोहन सिंह, and your Sonia Gandhi shed copious tears after the Batla House encounter for Indian Mujahideen. Your super boss Sonia Gandhi shed copious tears for Indian Mujahideen after the Batla House encounter. इसलिए यहाँ बैठकर बीजेपी को भाषण मत दो. It is my bad luck that I have to debate with somebody who's just a political analyst and not even the official spokesperson of the Congress party. You blabber every day on national television. If you have the guts, condemn what Sonia Gandhi did. If you have the guts, condemn what Manmohan Singh did. वो होगा नहीं. बस यहाँ आकर बीजेपी को भाषण देना. और I want to read out the tweet. I want to read out a post by Sanjay Singh. Very important. Please give me 10 seconds.
Anmol, have a look at that.
I want to give out.
This is for Anmol.
Read out a post. I want to read a post by Sanjay Singh today. He wrote, आम आदमी पार्टी सर्वोच्च न्यायालय और कानून के शासन का सम्मान करती है, blah blah, and then he says, लेकिन साथ ही हमारा मानना है कि किसी भी लोकतंत्र में बिना मुकदमा चलाए किसी व्यक्ति को लंबे समय तक जेल में रखना गंभीर संवैधानिक चिंताओं को जन्म देता है.
Shame. Shame, Anmol.
1:32 p.m. This is the same Sanjay Singh who said "Wah ji wah" when Sadhvi Pragya was incarcerated for 9 years and 6 months without
Why are you supporting
trial,
Omar Khalid today?
without a charge sheet. Sadhvi Pragya was incarcerated without so much as a charge sheet being filed, and your Sanjay Singh was saying "Wah ji wah." And today his heart beats for Umar Khalid. Why?
Can I respond?
Sanjay Singh is a Rajya Sabha member of Parliament from the Aam Aadmi Party. If you have the guts,
Closing, 10
condemn
seconds
your leader,
response,
Sanjay
yeah.
Singh, for
Go on, Anmol,
standing
you got your
together
10-second
together
response.
with
I'm
Umar
closing
Khalid.
after that. Go on.
condemn Sanjay Singh? Arnab, why can't you condemn Sanjay Singh?
She has not read.
Arnab, why
She
can't
has.
you condemn Sanjay
She has.
Singh? Arnab, why
The
can't you
BJP
condemn
spokesperson
Sanjay
has
Singh?
not read the Supreme Court judgment properly. The concluding
I have read
observation
what I
says
needed
that
to
right
read.
to speedy
I am
and
not
fair trial
willfully
is a
ignorant
must
like
for
you.
every Indian.
Why
Every
is
Indian.
Sanjay Singh
5
No.
years have passed. They have not
No.
filed a charge sheet.
The
If
court
anyone
has-
is involved in disintegration of the country, then he must be behind bars
Your
for
leader Sanjay
lifetime.
Singh is standing
But at least
in
The
trial will
court,
start.
the
Trial will
court
start.
in
This is
para
what we
430
want.
has accepted prima facie evidence against Sarjil Imam and Umar in planning mobilization, strategic intention, extending beyond episodic or localized acts in the alleged conspiracy. Don't try to misquote the court.
You condemn Sanjay Singh.
Well, I have
Why can't
1,000
you
times.
condemn
I don't need your prompting, Sanju Verma. I've done it more than you have, and before you entered politics. At 9 p.m. tonight, ladies and gentlemen, why we must closely observe what's happening in Venezuela from an Indian context. You may not have heard this analysis. This is not just a global story. It's a story with deep state at play.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.